The noise is getting louder, not outside the stadium, not from the opposing defense, from his own fan base. For the first time in his career, Dak Prescott isn't just being questioned, he's being doubted. And in Dallas, doubt spreads fast, because this wasn't supposed to be the season where we're having this conversation. This was supposed to be the year everything finally clicked. Instead, after another uneven performance under the bright lights, the whispers have turned into debates, and the debates are starting to sound like verdicts. It happened again last Sunday night, a primetime matchup, playoff implications. The offense stalled in the red zone, a late interception that felt eerily familiar. Cameras caught frustrated receivers. The defense kept them within reach, but the explosive plays never came. And when the final whistle blew, the questions weren't about the play calling. They weren't about protection. They were about him. Is Dak Prescott still the guy who can take this franchise where it wants to go? The media wasted no time. Former players on national shows dissected his footwork. Analysts replayed the interception frame by frame. Social media did what it always does, pick a side and refuse to move. Some pointed to the drops, others pointed to conservative play design. But the loudest voices said something far more dangerous. He shrinks in big moments. That's the label no quarterback can afford. And yet, the numbers complicate everything. On paper, Prescott isn't struggling the way critics suggest. Through the first stretch of the season, he's hovering around a 66% completion rate. His touchdown to interception ratio isn't catastrophic. His passer rating sits firmly in the middle tier of starting quarterbacks. Compared to last season, the raw yardage is slightly down, and the explosive plays have dipped. But it's not a statistical collapse. But here's where it gets uncomfortable. Last year, he finished among the league leaders in touchdown passes. He was aggressive, decisive, confident, pushing the ball downfield. This season, the air yards per attempt have dipped. The deep ball attempts are fewer. The offense feels cautious. Stack him up against the elite at his position, guys like Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, and Joe Burrow, and the separation becomes clear. Those quarterbacks tilt the field. They erase mistakes. They create when structure breaks down. Prescott right now looks more dependent on structure than ever. But do the stats tell the full story? Or are they hiding something deeper? Because the casual fan sees the interception. They see the final score. They see the highlight packages that replay the mistakes on a loop. What they don't see is the pressure rate creeping up week after week. They don't see receivers struggling to separate against man coverage. They don't see predictable play sequencing that allows defenses to sit on routes. The offensive line hasn't been the dominant unit it once was. Protection leaks at the edges. Prescott's average time to throw has shortened, not because he wants it to, but because it has to. When he does extend plays, the spacing downfield hasn't consistently rewarded him. There's also the scheme. Defenses have adjusted. More disguised coverages. More too high safety shells, forcing him to be patient. Last season, he punished single high looks with confidence. This year, teams are daring him to sustain 12 play drives without a mistake. That requires precision, timing, trust. And trust is fragile right now. Watch the All-22 tape and you'll notice subtle hesitations. A half-second delay before pulling the trigger. A check down where last year there might have been a shot downfield. That doesn't show up in the box score, but it changes the feel of an offense. Still, elite quarterbacks elevate beyond circumstance. That's the standard in Dallas. Fair or not. And then there's the body language. Cameras caught Prescott on the sideline last week, staring at a tablet, jaw tight, nodding but not smiling. He wasn't yelling, he wasn't pointing fingers, but he didn't look like a quarterback who believed the next drive would fix everything. He looked like someone carrying weight. Teammates still publicly back him. You won't hear open criticism in that locker room. The head coach has defended him in press conferences, emphasizing collective responsibility. But coaches defend until they don't. We've seen that movie before. Leadership isn't always about speeches. It's about energy. Does the huddle feel steady? Do receivers believe the ball is coming their way in critical moments? When adversity hits, does the offense speed up or slow down? Right now, it feels tight. And tight teams don't win in January. Zoom out and the pressure multiplies. Prescott's contract sits like a headline waiting to be written. Massive cap hits, future flexibility on the line. The franchise has invested in him as the centerpiece. You don't pay a quarterback at that level to be good. You pay him to be the difference. The front office built this roster to contend now. Defensive stars in their prime. Skill position players expecting deep playoff runs. This isn't a rebuilding year. It's a validation year. If this season ends in another early playoff exit, the questions won't just be about scheme. They'll be existential. Is he good enough to win a Super Bowl? Can you restructure and double down? Or do you quietly begin exploring alternatives? That's the bigger picture no one wants to say out loud, because the NFL doesn't wait. Windows close fast, and franchises that hesitate at quarterback get stuck in mediocrity. So what's the turning point? It starts with aggression. Prescott has to reclaim the vertical element of this offense, even if it risks an interception, even if it means living with mistakes. Playing not to lose is a slow bleed in today's league. The coaching staff has to help him. More pre-snap motion, easier reads, defined first options early in games to build rhythm. Let him get comfortable before asking him to be heroic. The offensive line must stabilize. Even a fraction more time changes everything for a quarterback who thrives on anticipation. And emotionally, he has to project certainty, whether he feels it or not. If that doesn't happen, the scenarios get uncomfortable fast. Trade rumors will intensify. Draft speculation will begin earlier than anyone expected. Every incomplete pass will feel heavier. And if losses stack up, you can't rule out radical conversations about the future of the offense. But there's another path. We've seen Prescott respond to doubt before. He's strung together dominant stretches that quieted critics overnight. One statement game against a top-tier defense changes the narrative instantly. A December hot streak reframes the entire season. Win a playoff game in commanding fashion, and suddenly the can't win big label evaporates. The margin between criticism and celebration in this league is razor thin. That's why this moment matters. This isn't about whether Dak Prescott is a good quarterback. He is. The question is whether he's the quarterback who can carry expectations as heavy as the star on that helmet, whether he can transform pressure into performance instead of tension. Because right now, something feels like it's teetering, not collapsing, not broken, but fragile. And fragility in the NFL gets exposed quickly. So here's the real question. If this season ends the way the skeptics predict with another disappointing finish, do you double down on Dak Prescott as the unquestioned leader of the future? Or is this the year the conversation finally shifts from how do we fix it to do we need someone else? The answer isn't months away, it's unfolding every Sunday.